Hey friend, welcome to the Feminine Initiate Podcast, a space for online coaches, creatives, and visionaries ready to do the thing while reclaiming their feminine power, manifesting their desires, and creating the impact they know they're here to make. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're having an incredible day so far. I wanted to continue the conversation of comparison with you today because, let's be honest, comparison affects all of us, each and every one of us at some point in our lives. And as I had mentioned on my last EFT tapping session on the podcast, if you tuned in to Sunday's episode, which was an EFT tapping to stop comparing and trust your unique path, this was a poll that I had created inside my Facebook group asking members what their greatest challenge was right now. And the top voted answer was getting caught up in comparison, making it mean something about us, feeling like we aren't exactly where we should be right now and that we're falling behind. Again, if you aren't yet in my Facebook community, I've included the link in the show notes of this episode. Join us. Every week I post a poll about one of the challenges that we're currently facing because I then create an EFT tapping session on the Sunday to help us move through it. And so I highly encourage that you join us in there. So comparison, I feel like with the online world and the rise of social media, comparison is something that we could honestly experience like every single day. There are always good and bad aspects of everything. So there are good aspects to comparison, and I'm going to share that later in this episode, but let's focus on the negative aspects for starters, because that's most often what we get caught up in when we start comparing, what we end up seeing on social media. When we end up comparing ourselves, we all know how it feels. It can end up leading to envy, jealousy. We can end up losing sight of our own personal goals, feeling like we're not enough, like we should be reaching for something more. Or it can make us become caught up in perfectionism, feeling like the content that we're putting out or what we're doing isn't yet perfect yet because it's not quite yet as good as so-and-so that also posts on social media, or that is also running their business, or whatever it is that they're doing. We can end up feeling dissatisfied with our own life. It leads to unhappiness. It leads to low self-esteem and negative self-talk. Of course, everything begins from within. And in this episode, I'm going to share some of the inner feedback that comparison is giving us, both good and bad. But first, let's talk about some of the mindset basics when it comes to comparison. First of all, and I mentioned this in Sunday's tapping episode, that most often what we see on social media and on the internet are people's highlights, are their accomplishments. They're sharing what they're most proud of, what they just created. They're sharing that end result. Essentially, they're sharing the harvest, but not the planting season, not the messy middle. People are sharing the before and after, but they're often not sharing what happens in the middle. They're not sharing the years that it takes them, the struggle, the self-doubt that they had, maybe the lack of support that they had, the tears that they shed. We're not seeing any of that. We're just seeing that end result. And so this brings me to the most basic principle that I know you've heard it before. Don't compare your step 1 to someone else's step 10. I think we're all guilty of doing this at some point. We see those beautiful photos of success and of accomplishment, and we want all of those amazing results too. And we're looking at them, not seeing all of the years of work that went into it. We're comparing where we are right now, step 1, maybe step 2, to someone else's step 10 and thinking, why aren't I there yet? Why don't I get it? Maybe this isn't for me. We allow this to start bringing doubts in our own work. We need to be able to recognize our own progress and focus on our own steps. I even see this with new podcasters. They will sometimes start comparing themselves with podcasters that have had their podcast for like 10, 15 years that literally helped start the whole podcast industry. They will compare their target market, their topics, their confidence with what they are starting. And they allow that to make them almost feel paralyzed, make them doubt their ability to truly share information of value and connect with their audience. It'll often get them to start skipping steps too, to just like go out there and start being comparable to these top podcasters, yet they're not actually taking the prerequisite steps needed in order to get there. We cannot miss these steps, and oftentimes these steps are not talked about. Just the other week, actually, Devin and I were talking about this very thing in the online coaching space, because there are many coaches out there who will make claims to say, oh, if you come work with me in 30 days, you'll start making 10K months. And that just doesn't happen. It's a marketing tactic. They'll get people in, and sadly, they just won't see the results. Or maybe they do. I'm not saying that it's not possible when you are first starting your coaching business to turn that amount of income in 1 month. But on a consistent basis, to be able to turn it over and over and over again and then continuously just increase that amount, likely not, because there are necessary skills, there are necessary processes, there are growth pains and learnings that need to happen for you to be able to actually create a sustainable business that makes consistent income in the online space or out in the real world. It doesn't matter. Things don't happen overnight. And a lot of the times when people end up claiming overnight success, what they're not showing is actually all of the years that they have actually been prepping, doing the inner work, building the skills to be able to get here. Many people, if they say that, they, as soon as they got into the online space, if they make a claim like they made a $10,000 month, sometimes what they won't say is that they were actually building their business along a full-time job for the past 4 years. And then they were able to bring this in and totally pivot into their online business. And so it looks beautiful and magical and amazing, and congrats to them. However, it's a little misleading, and those that compare could end up feeling like, oh, well, what's wrong with me that I can't turn this over? No, there is always work in everything. There is work, there is preparation. But anyways, I'm going on a rampage here. So to turn it back around, when we get caught up into comparison, what we need to do is recognize our own progress and focus on our own steps moving forward. Do not compare our step 1 to someone else's step 10 or 20 or whatever it is, because they're so visible in the online space, and it is all too easy to access others that are doing amazing and incredible things and that are the vision of where we want to go. And that's okay if we want to model some of the things that they're doing, really figure out what steps did they take and how can I begin doing that. That is great to be able to do. The problem comes then when we start feeling less than of ourselves, and when we start having self-doubt of what we're doing because we're constantly looking at the results of someone else. So focus on your own steps. Evidence journaling is something that I will always recommend every day. If you can start tracking these steps that you have taken towards the success that you envision for yourself, that is a successful day, and measure the progress that you're making in comparison to where you were yesterday. And then you will be able to feel fulfilled that way. The other point that I want to make is that oftentimes we can get caught up thinking that the grass is greener elsewhere. Or I like to think of this as shiny object syndrome, which often affects many entrepreneurs, where we end up losing sight of our goals and end up reaching for that next best thing, thinking that the success that we want is actually in something else. Someone else has this great idea and it seems to be going great for them. And so we're going to pivot what we're doing and start doing something else because this seems like a great thing. I'm starting my coaching business. I'm doing podcasting. Oh, but I hear like YouTube is really great. Cool. I'm going to do like YouTube and podcasting. And then what often happens is people get burnt out because these are two different things. It's different SEO, it's different requirements. And so we just try and take on too many things all at once, or we just end up pivoting altogether and going into something else completely different that ends up seeming more promising. The grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is only greener where you water it. Everything requires work. And where you are watering your grass, that is where it's going to be its greenest. And so even if something else, another product, another service, whatever it is, another platform to create content looks promising, it's not going to be instant success. The moment that you go on that platform or start to offer that product, you still need to put the back work into it. You still need to learn the skills. You still need to learn how that unique platform works. You still need to have the skills to be able to promote this offer. Offers don't sell on themselves. And so the work on your part is still required. You need to water your grass wherever you are, and that is where you are going to get the success that you want. Again, we cannot skip steps here. We need to just stick to our own journey, focus on our own journey without allowing ourselves to get distracted with everybody else's seemingly success out there. We are creating our own reality. We choose what we focus on. We only ever see what we want. I'm going to touch on our Reticular Activating System here, our RAS, that is a network in our brain that is tasked for finding in our environment what is congruent with our dominant thinking patterns. So whatever it is that we're thinking, our brain is programmed to find more of that in our environment. And so again, good and bad. And so we can see it as if we have this low self-esteem and we don't feel like we're enough. Well, our RAS is going to find proof in our environment that proves to us that we aren't enough. And so maybe we are going to start seeing other people's successes on the internet or in our actual physical reality. And that is going to trigger more thoughts because it's going to provide us proof that we're not enough because we're not there yet and they're doing so much better than us. And why can't I get this right? Why can't I be as social? Why can't I have a product that people love? Whatever it is, we will find that proof. But here's the thing, because the world is the world. We can't actually change what is happening on our outside physical reality. So let's say instead you are affirming to yourself, I'm successful. I'm successful. I'm building my dream business. I'm successful. Your brain will seek that proof. You will find that proof in your environment. And so maybe you will end up seeing people online and people in your outside immediate environment that have a successful business. And what could that show you? That can show you that if they're doing it, I can too. The fact that I am seeing success in another is telling me that I'm next in line, is telling me that that success is so close to me because look, it's all I can see around me. Everywhere I look, where I'm scrolling on social media, I'm just seeing success after success, all of these amazing entrepreneurs or individuals or influential women that are doing it. They are so successful. So that means I'm next because I am in this energy. And so it's the same outside circumstance. It's the same thing, but we're interpreting it in a different way. And so whenever we find ourselves getting caught up in comparison, we can then reframe it. What are we actually comparing about? What is it? Are we looking at their success? Are we looking at their happiness? Are we looking at their beautiful vacation? Are we looking at their home? Are we looking at the number of clients that they have? Are we looking at the cash in their bank account if they're showing that? Because some people do. Whatever it is, what is it that we're comparing? And how can we switch that internal narrative to tell ourselves that, this is proof that I am next in line. I'm going to allow this to strengthen the confidence in myself and in my own journey because I know the only reason I'm seeing this is because I am next in line. This is inner work, doing this reframe consciously and recognizing it within ourselves when we're beginning to negatively compare ourselves and when we're allowing it to negatively affect us. And some other intentional inner work practices that we can do is really taking some time to recognize our own value. Really take some time and maybe even journal this. what is my value? And your value specifically, your inner value, not the value that you have by, financial means or any kind of material possessions, but your value in specific. If everything was stripped away from you, what value would you have? This is really important because we don't want to be tying in our value to outside things. I mean, everything is temporary. And so what if those outside things are gone for some reason, for some natural disaster or some other unfortunate event? Then what? Then who would you be? Where would your value be? To really focus on you. The law of compensation states that you will be compensated in proportion to the value you provide, considering the need for your work, your skill level, and the difficulty in finding a replacement. I feel like so often we can end up missing this last one, the difficulty in finding a replacement. What is the value that you bring that nobody else could take from you, that nobody else could provide, because you are actually allowing yourself to express that truth of who you are, to express that authenticity. And when you really allow yourself to hone in on that, it eliminates the need for comparison, because you know who you are deep down, and you know that you are irreplaceable, that nobody else can offer whatever it is that you're offering like you do. No one else could provide the value that you provide. And that's whether it's just in your personal life or in your business life. Like, this is you, this is your unique essence, and no one can take that away from you. So when we allow ourselves to go within and really focus on the value that we bring and recognize that we are irreplaceable and so valuable and so indispensable, then we don't have the need to compare anymore. And we also really don't have the need to be prone to shiny object syndrome, because when we recognize that, you know what, the opportunity really isn't in anything else. The opportunity is right where I am. It's getting really good at my craft, whatever that is, and getting really good at knowing who I am and being myself. And lastly, recognize your current level of success. You see, because we're never going to get anything if we aren't currently that. That is the law of vibration, which supersedes the law of attraction. If we don't yet recognize the success that we have right now, if we don't feel successful right now, we're never going to feel successful, because success isn't in the outside thing that we're chasing. Success isn't in the finances. It isn't in the home. It isn't in the vacation. It isn't in the love, like whatever it is. Success is a feeling within ourselves. Success is our ability to be able to recognize what we already have. And so look at your life right now. In what ways are you successful already? In what ways do you have a wealthy and rich life? Look at your friends and your family. Do you have love around you? Feel that right now. What about time freedom? Do you have time freedom? As if you are a beginning entrepreneur, you already have the time freedom. How incredible. Maybe your business isn't exactly where you need it to be, but oh my goodness, the fact that you have the ability to be able to devote some time to your business, or if you're full-time in your business, you can spend all day doing what you love and building your dream. That is so successful. And what about your current finances right now? Do you feel satisfied? Like, are you living a good life, a good, comfortable life with what you have right now? Like, that is a success. Can you pay your bills with ease? Can you go and gas your vehicle with ease? Oftentimes people will complain about the prices of gas. And for me, I don't even look at gas prices. I don't even remember the last time I checked the gas price, because in my mind, I'm like, I need to gas up. Like, my car's empty. I'm going to go and gas up. I don't care what price it is. Like, I'm going to pay it because I need a filled car, right? Can you pay groceries with ease? And if so, oh my goodness, can you see how successful you are right now? And so if you find yourself getting caught up in comparison, and if you are prone to this, then I would recommend that you journal every day for the next 30 days. Journal on your value, the value that you have, you alone. That's intrinsic value, not outside of yourself. And journal on proof that you are currently successful. Journal in which ways in your life are you right now successful, and allow yourself to emphasize that in your life. Really feel that value and that success as you're journaling that. And when you do, you are going to be less prone to comparing yourself negatively to others. And when you do see the success of others on social media or in your immediate surroundings, you see that as proof that you are next in line for that as well. That if someone could do it, you can most absolutely do it too. Put that on your vision and you are going to be next in line. Allow it to fuel you forward instead of just allowing you to stay stagnant where you are. So that's all I have for you today. I hope it resonated with you. And if it did, and you know of someone else who tends to get caught up in comparison and who could benefit from this episode, then please share it with them. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And until next time, be empowered. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a rating and review. It'll help me grow the show by reaching a wider audience. And if you'd like to continue this conversation, join me inside my private Facebook group, Just Launch. This is a great place where we can connect on a more personal level. You can find the link in the show notes.